Hello, 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 hello. Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me? All right, I've got how many people? 2 people. All right, we're going to start in a moment. I'm just checking if all the connections are working fine. If you can hear me, just type, press 1 on your side if you can hear me clearly. If you can hear me, just press 1. If you can hear me, press 1. So we're going to start in 5 minutes. I'm just waiting for other people to get in on this chat, on this live chat. Okay, I'm going to share my entire screen. You can see my screen, right? If you can see my screen, type 1 on your side. Okay, let me open another screen here. Let's see, how many people do we have here? All right, we're going to start in a few minutes. Just double checking if all the connections are working fine and if you can hear me clearly. All right, it's 8:20, so we're going to start with this session for the CompTIA Security Plus practice questions. Those who are going to join us later, then they can watch the recording just to review what we've went through. All right, let's start, guys. Let's not waste time. So this session will take about maybe an hour. We've got about maybe 20 questions that we're going to go through. So basically, this session is about how to answer the questions. In the Security Plus exam, we're going to go through all these questions together. And then I'm going to show you how you must look at the question. And then we're going to do the exercises together to see if you guys understand Security Plus. So let's start. All right, I'm going to start with this question here, right? PKI and certificate management. All right, first question. Which certificate status checking protocol provides real-time revocation status without downloading the entire list of revoked certificates? Now, do not answer this question in the chat. I'm going to share the link so that you can answer this question on your side. So I'm going to give you the link here on the chat. Then you can try and answer this question as well. So click on the link and then answer the question on the link. See if you can answer this question on your side. Or maybe I can pin the link. All right. Answer that question and then I will share the screen. Then we can look at which option you guys chose. Now look at the question. To be able to answer this kind of question, you need to know all of these options. So now I'm going to open the responses to see which option you guys chose to answer this question. And then we're going to have a look at the options and to see which one is right and which one is incorrect. Okay, let me share the results. Okay, I haven't received any responses yet. I see there's 3 people, but I haven't received any responses regarding the question. Okay, the correct answer is the first one, right? OCP. Let me share this. So OCP, Online Certification Status Protocol, right? So you look at the question, they're saying here, which certificate status checking protocol provides real-time revocation status without downloading the entire list of revoked certificates? So they want something that provides real-time status, which is this one, OCSP. Okay, now let's go to the next question. Let's see if you guys can get this one. Sorry, this question here says an attacker tricks a logged-in administrator into submitting an unauthorized request to change an account password. What vulnerability is being exploited? Okay, let me share the link and then you can choose the option which you think is the right answer. I'm going to share the link here. Okay, I just shared the link. Try and click open that link so that you can answer the question. I see we've got one person on the chat. So go through the question. It says an attacker tricks a logged in administrator into submitting an unauthorized request to change an account password. What vulnerability is being exploited? So the keywords on this question here is the attacker tricked an administrator into submitting an unauthorized request. So these are the keywords here, unauthorized request. To be able to answer this question, you need to know all of these options and what they mean. Okay, and the correct answer is the first one, cross-site request forgery. Cross-site request forgery is a form of an attack where a hacker sends the victim a request. Okay, let me see how many people did try to answer this question. Okay, I'm going to show you the responses and then we can see how many people did attempt to answer this question here. Okay, no responses yet. Okay, let's try the next question. Let's see if somebody can get this question here. All right, here's the next question. So which core principle of zero trust architecture asserts that all network traffic is untrusted, regardless of origin? The key word there is zero trust. So if you know zero trust, then definitely you can answer this question here. They've got 4 options: never trust, always verify, security through ops security, implicit trust inside perimeter, or static defense in depth. The core principle for zero trust, the answer is, before you answer, I'm going to share the link, then you can answer on the link. I'm going to share the link on the chat. You can click the link on the chat to answer the question. If you know zero trust architecture, then you can answer this question. So you can click on the link which I just shared right now and then choose the correct answer. The correct answer is never trust, always verify. So in zero trust architecture, you never trust, you must always verify. That's what zero trust means. All right, so I'm gonna go to the next one. Next question. All right, this question is about digital forensics. So let's go through the question. It says here, during digital forensics collection, which data source should be acquired first according to the order of volatility? So basically what they're asking here is when there's an investigation by the forensics, which data source should be collected first based on the order of volatility? So what they're asking you here is that which Which of these is more volatile? That's what they're asking you. And if you look at these options, which one is more volatile? That's what they're asking you there. So I've shared the link. You can click on that link to answer this question. Now, from all of these options, which one will be more volatile? Which one should the forensics investigator collect the data from first? You can click on the link that I've just shared on the chat and then choose the option that you think is the correct one. Which one is more volatile? And the correct answer is CPU, registers, and cache is more volatile. So all of these are very important during forensics. Data should be collected from all of them during an incident, but this one should be the first one, because if a PC switches off or if a server switches off, then you lose this. You lose the CPU registers and the cache. Then you won't be able to collect the data. All right. Now let's go to the next one. Let's see if you guys will be able to answer this one. Okay, this one needs a calculator. So during the CompTIA Security Plus, you may be asked a question like this, and this kind of question will require you to use the on-screen calculator. So during the CompTIA Plus or the CompTIA Security Plus exam, you will have access to an on-screen calculator to be able to answer a question like this. Now, this question requires that you know a formula of how to calculate ALE. If you know the formula, then it's easy to answer this question. But I'm going to skip this question for now. I'm going to go to the next one. Now let's look at this question here. Now this question here says, which cloud security solution acts as an intermediary between on-premises users and cloud service providers to enforce security policies? So they're asking you here, who's the middleman between a cloud service provider and a cloud user? Who's the middleman that enforces the security policies? That's what they're asking you here on this question here. So I'm going to share the link of this question. Try and answer it on your side to see if you know the correct answer. Okay, I've shared the link to this question on the chat so that you guys can attempt to answer or to choose the correct option here. Now, the correct option for this question here is first one, Cloud Access Security Broker. All right, I'm going to move on to the next one. Next question. Okay, I see we've got 4 people. So the next question is about wireless security. So here's a question. What key exchange mechanism in WPA3 replaces the vulnerable 4-way handshake of WPA2 personnel to protect against offline dictionary attacks? Now, to be able to answer a question like this, you need to know all of these encryption methods. if I can give you a clue, this is the old method of securing wireless network. This is the modern one, the latest one. And then they're asking what replaces the four-way handshake that was used in the old model. And the answer to that one is this one, the first one, right? Simultaneous authentication of equals, SAE, is only included in WPA3, the modern Wi-Fi security protocol. All right, let's go to the next question. So let's look at this question here. This should be easier to answer. An attacker compromises a specific third-party website frequented by employees of a target company to distribute malware. What attack vector is this? So on this question, what they're saying is that an attacker compromises a website or an application that you are using. So they don't attack you directly. They're going after a platform or a service that you are using to get your information. What kind of attack is that? That's the question here. So I'm going to copy this link. I'm going to share it on the chat. Then you guys can try and choose the correct answer. So we call this kind of attack a watering hole attack. This is the correct answer. So if you have a company and I'm trying to attack you, your company, but I'm struggling to, I'm going to find out from your service providers if I can attack them. So when your company tries to connect to the service provider's website, then your company will be connecting to a compromised website. Then I'll be able to get the information that I need from your company. So that's what this means, right? Watering hole attack. Now let's go to the next question. Let's see if you guys can get this question. Question 10. Which hardware component securely stores cryptographic keys and performs platform integrity checks on an endpoint device? So if you look at the question, they're saying which hardware, that's a keyword, which hardware component securely stores cryptographic keys. When you look at these options, which one stores cryptographic keys? That's what they're asking you. So I'm going to share the link on the chat. You guys can choose the correct option. And they're saying also it performs platform integrity checks. Now, out of all of these, which one stores cryptographic keys and performs integrity checks? Correct answer is the first one, right? Trusted platform module. All of these do not store cryptographic keys. It's the first one that only stores the cryptographic keys, right? Okay, so we're going to move on to the next question. All right, here's the next question. Question 11. An organization needs a fast, authenticated, symmetric encryption mode that provides both confidentiality and data integrity for high-speed network traffic. Which mode should be selected? Which mode should be selected? Now, if you look at the question, what they're saying is that they need a fast, authenticated, symmetric encryption mode that provides both confidentiality and data integrity. Those are the keywords. This, confidentiality, and data integrity. If you know that, then you can be able to answer this. And the correct one is, before I answer, I'm going to share the link to this question. Try and answer it on your side. Let's see if you guys know the answer. And then I'm going to try and share the results to see if you did try to answer on your side. So the correct answer is this one, right? A. All of these options, they don't provide data integrity. The second one, it does provide confidentiality, but it does not provide data integrity. Right, I'm going to move on to the second or next question, which is question 12. So let's look at question 12. Security administrator needs to secure a DNS resolution and prevent cache poisoning or spoof attacks without encrypting DNS payload queries. Which protocol should be deployed? And these are the options. So let's look at the question. A security administrator needs to secure DNS resolution. Those are the keywords, and prevent cache poisoning or spoofing attacks. Now, to be able to answer this question, you need to know what DNS is, right? Remember, when you search for websites uses a web server, right? And that website is connected to an IP address. And all of that information is stored on the DNS server. So if you are the security administrator and you want to secure your DNS server and you want to prevent cache poisoning or spoofing attacks without encrypting the DNS payload, correct option, before I choose the correct option, I'm going to share the link. Try and answer the question on your side. Let's see if you know the right answer. Correct option is this one, right? DNSSEC. Okay, let's try and go to the next question. Next question is question 13. So question 13, it says here, a penetration tester is given network diagram schematics and source code documentation prior to beginning an assessment. What assessment methodology is being used? So the penetration tester has been given the information. They're saying here they have been given a network diagram and a source code documentation. So what assessment method are they using? When you look at these options, which one says the person has been given the information? I'm going to share the link. Try and answer the question on your side. So the correct answer for this one would be the first option, known environment, because the penetration tester was given the network diagrams and the source code documentation. So that means they know the environment. So sometimes as a penetration tester, you will be asked to perform penetration testing without having any information. All right, now let's go to the next question. Question 14. Which endpoint capability monitors host level system behaviors, continuously analyzes telemetry for advanced threats, and supports automated containment actions? So to answer this question, these are the 4 options. And then they're asking you which endpoint capability monitors host. These are the keywords: host level system behaviors continuously. From these 4 options, the correct one would be, okay, I'm going to share the link. Choose the correct one. Let's see. So the correct one would be the first one, endpoint detection and response. This one continuously analyzes the telemetry for advanced threat and monitors the host level system behaviors. Other ones, this one is very old. We no longer use this anymore. Antivirus signatures, we don't use signatures because it's not continuous. All right, now let's move to the next question. All right, here's the next question. During an ongoing malware incident, an analyst isolates an infested host from the network but keeps the machine powered on. What is the primary reason for keeping power applied? So why would they keep the power applied? Why won't they switch off the machine that they've isolated from the network? Remember what a digital forensics investigator has to do first. They have to gather information, right? They have to gather data. So they keep the machine powered on so that they can preserve the volatile memory, the RAM and running processes, so that they can be able to collect data for investigations. All right. All right. So for now, I'm going to stop on this question. And then we're going to have to continue again. I'm going to do more questions, maybe tomorrow or next week. And then we're going to continue again with the security plus questions so that you guys can prepare for the exam. And then when you go for the exam, you can be more confident and understand how the questions are. So for now, thank you for those who did join. Hopefully, there'll be a lot more people joining soon. And yeah, thank you guys. See you next time.